Hello friends, and welcome to our first ever online Vacation Bible School. My name is Kara, and I'm super excited about all we have to share with you over the course of the next 4 weeks. From stories and snacks, to crafts and ways to move your body, and of course, science and music. Our theme for VBS this year is Follow Me, something that Jesus says a lot in Scripture. In fact, Jesus says, follow me over 20 times in the first 4 books of the New Testament. During VBS, we will look at these 2 words through 4 different stories in the Bible, wondering what they meant to the people who lived with Jesus, as well as what they mean to us today. In week 1, we heard the story of Jesus calling the first disciples from Matthew chapter 4. We learned how they were fishermen, but left their jobs behind to follow Jesus. The disciples learned a lot about God's love from Jesus, and we learned how the relationships and friendships they built with people helped them to share the message of Jesus. We too can follow Jesus by choosing to put people first.
Jesus was walking through Galilee. He saw some men fishing out at sea. The men had been waiting all through the night,
to keep the beat in our song today. You can shake on the beats like this.
And Jesus asked their names. Brothers Peter, Andrew, brothers John and James.
You can add extra shakes to your beat, kind of like this.
Let's see if you catch some fish with me. And he said, daytime, nighttime, rain and sunshine.
You want to take a binder clip, a paper clip, and put it on the fish. So it's got something that is metal. Now, then you can put your fish on a table or on the floor, and then you can try and catch your fish.
And today we're going to do 2 moves of Qigong. One is called moving toward heaven. So the arms are going to be next to your body, and Beanie, my dog, is here to help us out here today. Arms come up, and they're going to go all the way above your head, and then your palms of your hands are going to come down, and you're going to come right in the center of your body down.
No more fishing from the sea. No more fishing from the sea.
In week 2, Pastor Jill and Tegan shared the story of Jesus feeding a whole lot of people from John chapter 6.
At this point in Jesus' ministry, people were starting to get to know him. He'd been doing ministry and healing people for a little while, and people really liked to listen to him. And they knew that they could trust him to help them when they needed it. In fact, Jesus was popular enough that when he went places, people followed him. And that's what happened this day.
Jesus knew the people were hungry and asked the disciples to make a plan to feed them. When the disciples didn't know how to feed all the people, a boy came forward and gave his lunch to Jesus. Jesus gave thanks for this child's lunch, and the next thing we know, every one of those people had food to eat. We too can follow Jesus by taking care of people's needs and sharing what we have.
This week, we are going to be making a beaded fish keychain, one to keep and one to share, just like our boy in the story. Let's get started.
You can see that that little bit of powder has multiplied to many times its own size. And you can feel it feels cold, and it even looks like snow. And in fact, a lot of times in the movies, they use this stuff for fake snow.
Hey guys, stuck at Vacation, and Bible School. So today we're going to be doing confetti macaroni style, and you guys have this menu too.
This week we got out our rhythm sticks to keep the beat to a song that reminds us that we can rely on God's love to be there for us all the time. Kalia led the song All That You Need on her ukulele, and we'd like to share it with you here.
Oh God, He's gonna give you. Can we start over? Oh God, He's gonna give you all that you need, all that you need. Oh God, He's gonna give you all that you need, all that you need. God is good and loves you, good and loves you, hey. God is good and loves you, good and loves you, hey. Oh, God is gonna give you all that you need, all that you need. Oh, God is gonna give you all that you need, all that you need. God is good and loves you, good and loves you. God is good and loves you, good and loves you. God is good and loves you, good and loves you. Hey, 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 hey.
Week 3, Laura shared the story of the woman Jesus meets at a well in Samaria. Rules in society at that time said that Jesus and the woman shouldn't speak to each other.
But do you know what happens in this story? Jesus asks the woman for a drink. She was surprised, and she said, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask a drink of me, a woman of Samaria?" Jesus said, "If you knew who was asking, you would have asked me, for the water that I give is living water."
Not only did this woman come to know God through Jesus that day, but she brought many other people to hear Jesus' teachings. We learned in this story that God's love is for all people, and we can follow Jesus by sharing love with everyone.
When I read the Bible, it shows me how to love. And when I read the Bible, it makes me think of how, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. The Bible tells me so.
On and some sprinkles. Yay! Okay, I'm gonna try it.
Very old exercise movement, and it strengthens your lower body, and it allows you to focus and center yourself to the minute that we're in right now. So with Tai Chi, the movements are really slow, and this requires good balance. It requires a lot of strength.
The dot that I made with the different ink, with the different black, it's separating into a blue streak at the beginning, and there's kind of another streak back there. The purple moved very, very quickly and dissolved very quickly. The brown is really separating into yellow and orange, and this blue has some blue and some green tape.
Week 4, our final week of Vacation Bible School, we heard part of a letter one of Jesus' followers, Paul, wrote to a church family. In Ephesians chapter 4, Paul reminds them to show humility, gentleness, and patience, and to love one another. Paul also tells them it's important to stick together in a bond of peace. These two are important ways we can follow Jesus. The more we come together in our love of God and one another, the more peaceful our world can be. Thank you all for being part of Vacation Bible School this summer. I cannot wait until the time we can be together again in person. But until then, keep coming up with ways that you can follow Jesus. VBS was very different this year. Instead of home-cooked meals, it was cooking videos from Jamie's kitchen. Instead of juggling name tags, supply kits were lined up at the front of the church each Monday. Instead of laughter echoing within the building, giggles and ideas were shared through computer speakers. I'm so thankful for all those who put together plans and supplies, signed in onto Zoom to lead, and the adults at home for guiding children through each week's activities. I know our kids had a good time learning about how to follow Jesus. I hope you did too as you traveled through their weeks.